I offer innovators the opportunity to get in touch with the stories that will make the difference in how people respond to their service, their product. Because so often when I go to a website and I read the About Us, the thing that's missing for me is the story, the founder story, the startup story. Well, my experience with people is they're either being authentic or they're putting on a bit of a mask, which we all do. And it's easier for some than others based on how they have been trained, schooled, raised. And sometimes it's about peeling back the layers of all the things we should be doing and should be saying to getting back to the heart of who we are, and then bringing that forward in addition to the service or the product. So authenticity is important to me because I feel like when I go onto a website or if I am watching a video, I read right through what is superficial. I would much prefer to know the backstory. I think, and I have watched websites where in the beginning when they were younger, they had a backstory. And then as they get bigger, the backstory changes. And then as they get really big, the backstory falls away. And so I think the authenticity would be that the backstory would stay part of the website and the product, the service, the team, for the duration of the company, quite frankly. I'm struck by how unwilling people are to actually talk about themselves in the conversation, because an innovator with an idea, they want to jump from I got this idea, and they want to jump to the what it is they're doing, and they bypass talking about themselves as if it's not appropriate. And whether it's humility or whether it's self-consciousness, I mean, I could say I feel self-conscious right now, but in order to be effective, I need to be able to, with love and self-appreciation, talk about who I am, what I do well, and why I would have people listen to me or do business with me. And innovators, they have an emotional component to why they started what they started. But then they want to put it aside and say, well, that's not important to talk about. And I would say, actually, I think it is, because it's very important to know who is the foundational energy of the company. For 2.5 years, I ran a writer support group. It was called a writer support group for the reticent blogger. We had thousands of people come through, 25 at a time, many of them week after week, and people altered their ideas and beliefs about what they could and couldn't blog about or talk about or write about. So it's as if they went on this journey of self-appreciation, and they were then able to boldly and without shame say, I created this, this is how I work, this is what I do, this is what I care about. And I would love it if people never lost their ability to do that. But it's a matter of a process to regain the ability to talk about things with confidence and self-appreciation and authenticity. The purpose of the pitch is to ignite curiosity in a person or an investor or a group of people to want to know more. So a pitch that incorporates good storytelling is going to be more effective and more amplified, and it's going to be memorable. So you can't just tell a big, long, rambling story, nor can you just give a lot of facts and figures. You can cover all the talking points of what's on the lean business model, and you can address all the problems, and you can say, here's the market, and you can talk about those specifics. But I think it's about the mind and the heart being in concert. And people have to be able to wrap their head around it. And then we must also always remember that people are at some point in the process an emotional purchaser of the offering. So the pitch needs to be short, but it also needs to be vivid, and it needs to be memorable. And so it's like a soup with the right amount of seasoning. I'm, for example, a big fan of TED Talks. This is my version of Saturday morning cartoons. This is how we wake up. We get up, we make coffee, we watch 2 or 3 TED Talks, and we start our day on the weekends. The best TED Talks, they are not exactly formulaic, but they always have the element of story, and there is a component of, you can just sort of see into the heart of what drives that person, and 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 with a pitch, and especially if you only have 5 minutes, that's not a lot of time to convince or persuade. And I think it's less about trying to convince or persuade a person, but it's about being vulnerable, telling the truth, sharing things that you might dismiss as unimportant, but doing it in an order that makes sense logically, but then also pulls at the heartstrings of the listener. So the other thing I would add is, if you're going to be pitching to a group of people and it's a big room, you're probably going to have a lot of different styles of listeners. And it's probably important to ask for feedback from people you trust and who will tell you the truth.